All right, here we go, guys. Welcome to another episode here. This is episode 3 in the Shipley Swine group. Shipley Swine Genetics, Rick Snyder. Jake Holt is with me. He is our show pig specialist, and we are going to be discussing the Boar stud boars over here. We're kind of coming up. January 1st breed date is basically, 2 days from now, Sunday? Sunday will be January 1st as far as the breed calendar goes. And we want to tell you guys about some of the new boars here at the Boar Stud, some of the older proven boars that have been winning a lot of hog shows, and which ones you guys need to be using. Jake, tell me a little bit about here, some of the current trends you're seeing as you've been in a lot of these shows here. You see what's going on. What's winning the hog shows these days?
Well, we're now kind of in a transition stage. 3 to 5 years ago, we talked about just how stout we can make them in terms of just foot size, bone work, body mass. And then now, as we've kind of went to one extreme, is now we're transitioning back. So we're talking now in terms of extra, a little bigger size, a little extra extension and look. I'd say look, balance, and flexibility now plays a bigger role and a bigger part in a show pig, in the show ring than mass and muscle did, like I said, 5 to 6 years ago.
A couple years ago, it's like how muscular can we make them, how wide and stout can we make them, and now, and I like them a little bit better here with the bigger skeleton, underneath them. I think that the pigs get along more now that we're actually going to let them have some size. Go ahead. We're going to touch on a few of the different breeds here, let you know kind of what we're seeing. If you want to get started here, tell me about some of the Berkshire Boars. We'll start off with Juice It. Juice It's a boar that we had gotten a couple years ago. He's done an awful lot of winning here. He's had some success.
This will be year 2. We just got through the second show season with Juice It. We purchased Juice It Springfield of the summer type deal. What was it? 2016.
It was 2016. Yep.
Juice has done a great job at that show. There was a lot of high dollar ones, and that's where Keep Talking. That's where whatever it takes. All
Definitely
those went through that show. But Juice It was the extreme one in terms of as we're transitioning from moderate and stout to bigger outline and better, more attractive.
Had that real pretty profile.
Yeah, he was the one that was the changer in terms of just elevation and extension in comparison to the rest. We bought him with intentions to go ahead and use him back on some of the double barrel sows that were more moderate and stouter in their features, but still good in their skeleton. So we did that in the first season. Got along great. We sold a gilt in the March Madness sale, actually.
Yep.
That was a class winner at the summer type conference. Ended up being reserve champion in Berkshire at the Ohio State Fair. That was just the tip of the iceberg on that. So then, that was one that was talked about enough that people went ahead and used him the second year. We bred actually a full sib, or made a full sib to that gilt the year before. That gilt went on to win the World Pork Expo in the Open Show. She was 4th overall in the junior show. I think she ended up selling for like $6,500 there. Go back to the Texas Majors. We sold one. Victoria Hayes showed. She drug her to just about every show in Texas. She was champion of reserve Berkshire gilt
everywhere.
I don't know how many times, but it was a bunch.
It was a lot of shows. So needless to say, Juice It's done a ton of winning here. We could go on and on and on about how many shows Juice It's won. And then
just recently, the Open Show gilt at Indiana State Fair was a Juice It.
Yeah, Ernie Birchmeyer done a great job. Tremendous gilt on that.
Yeah.
So after Juice It being a proven one, we'll get into one that we've had here just a little bit of time. There's a boar called Boardwalk,
and one we purchased with the intention of using the Boardwalk on those
back on the Juice It. Exactly. Yep.
So Boardwalk's one we purchased at Indiana State Fair last year. Incredibly heavy structured, stout featured, square built. As we make them, the bigger outline, very attractive ones with the Juice It's, we wanted to go back and add just a little more stoutness again with the Boardwalk. So it's worked out very, very well. Those hogs have got along great. We took one to Springfield this time. He's now at Sherritt Family Farms.
Nice boy.
They said
been a popular boar down there for
very popular for those guys down there. Those hogs will be very stout featured, very square built, heavy structured. Very, very heavy boned.
Yeah, that's the one thing we liked about Boardwalk.
Yeah. And still keep a neat look about them. So it's, that's one we're still plugging in again on year 2 because as we move those gilts out, the ones we're using not only as keeper gilts but some of those breds that we'll sell, we're very high on those. We like what we're seeing there, so we're going to go ahead and use them again this fall. From there, we actually are going to release, or I guess show one or get pictured, and here for long.
We'll make them available to you guys here pretty soon. Yeah,
he has a Boardwalk son back on a full sib to juice it. So he'd be a Boardwalk Speak Now. That's how it came from Austin Lane. That one, we don't have him named yet, but that's one that is.
Send me your good names. We need to name this guy. Send me something cool.
He has a Boardwalk Speak Now. So he kind of fits the juice it trend and pattern in terms of elevation and extension, being a nickel bigger outline. But yeah, it has Boardwalk features in terms of him. I mean, he's incredibly big footed, very stout boned, clean hocked, loose skeleton. It's one we're going to plug in along with.
We'll be using them here pretty heavy.
Along with the Boardwalk deal again, we'll plug him in place there too. From there, we got
a really unique boar.
Yeah,
we got down in Texas from Will Winter. Tell me about TX.
Yeah, TX was one we got from Springfield this time.
Wintex Farms.
Yep, came from Wintex. We like I said before, we took a Boardwalk son there that we were very, very confident was going to be in the top 2 or 3 at the show. We get in class, and literally Randall Buck looked at TX, and the board was sent to sold to Sherritt's for 5 minutes trying to figure out which way he wanted to go. Ended up using TX first. We were second. So it's kind of one of those, we thought we took a heater and ended up getting beat. So if you can't beat them, might as well buy them.
There you go.
So TX is very unique for Berkshire in terms of just look and pattern. The hog's squareness, foot size. Foot quality is extremely good. Toe quality, spread to his toes, shape to his toes, really, really good. He's very, for a Berkshire, normally the typical Berkshire, it gets a little coarser and rounder jointed. He is so clean jointed. He's so loose jointed. Reach and range of motion off both ends of the skeleton is extremely good.
So good feet, good joints, good flexibility, good motion,
and still looks like a show
we're just getting started here on this guy.
Yeah, and like I said, he's starting to. I mean, we've got him plugged into probably 6 or 8 so far. As we continue to wean off these summer litters, he's one that we're definitely going to dump in and use when we can. So I mean, definitely look into that guy. I mean, in terms of making Berkshire show pigs, he's one needs to be on your short list for sure.
And looking at this guy, when we show him around to different people, I mean, some of the comments we've heard is, I mean, he looks like a crossbred boar as far as muscle, top, rump. I mean, stuff like that. We've talked about good feet, good legs, good toes, and and then once we talk about the muscle patterns in the top and the rump shape this guy has, I mean, it's like crossbred muscle. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's one that can. I mean, he'll
make some show bears.
He'll take you off center very, very fast. Then the most recent Berkshire we got in just there at Indiana State Fair, one we called Night Wolf. He was a reserve boar there in Indiana. Came from Lux in Illinois. When he came in the ring, he looked like the Berkshire breeding hog in terms of, I mean, just perfect Berkshire markings in terms of, I mean, just his face, legs. Berkshire character is very, very good. He's heavy boned, he's big bodied, he's a loose skeleton, and just correct. He's one that we can use him. On some of the Juice It daughters, we can use him. He's really versatile. And just the fact that he's one that's just practical, has good function, good design. It still keeps some feature and some attractive qualities. And
unrelated to the Speak Now, Keep Talking line, which is a little bit hard to find right now because that stuff's been really good. It's really prevalent. So if you guys are looking to get something bred, if you got Speak Now, Keep Talking, and you're looking for something,
it's TX. I mean,
everything
is going to be, and he gets a little different on the pedigree side. So we definitely look into that guy too. We have, I don't know if you've touched on this, but we have videos up on most of these boars. And if we haven't got them yet,
they'll be coming soon.
We should get them yet this fall.
Yep. We've been trying to keep that video page up to date with you guys. I'm not sure how many. There might be 20 videos on that boar page. Go to shipleyswine.com, click on where it says boar videos. We do got videos of several of these boars we're talking about. Guys, just so you know, these videos, we try really hard and get these out there. I know, guys ask us, can you get a video of this boar? Can you get a video of this boar? Yes, we can. It's just we've been trying awful hard. We're really busy here. Bear with us, though. We're going to try to get as many of these boar videos up as we can as we're able to do that. But check out that page, boar videos, on shipleyswine.com, and you'll be able to see a lot of these boars we're talking about. On the Durocs here.
We switched gears into the Duroc breed.
Boar that's been doing a ton of winning here.
Yeah, one easy to start with. It's Focus. Focus is the boar we purchased from Expo last year. It came from Ryan and Tyler Knight. He is an attention on He's the One. He is out of a litter my sister to the champion boar at the Expo year before. And there's a ton of winners in that pedigree on both sides. He's one that's we use here a lot. And are continuing to use him back a year or two. We took a red boar to the World Pork Expo. He was reserve champion boar, reserve champion Duroc boar. He's now was purchased and now housed at Real McCoy Genetics. Let's see, the reserve champion Duroc bear at the Ohio State Fair was a Focus. The reserve champion gilt at the Ohio State Fair Open Show was a Focus. The $8,500 gilt that Madeline Harrison sold at the World Pork Expo was a Focus. And they're still filing in. Those winners. It's been really, really good.
And we're talking big shows here, guys. World Pork Expo.
Yeah.
We're not talking county fairs. We're talking big national shows.
Yeah.
This guy's competed and placed very high.
Yes.
Sold very high.
The Focus hog's a bigger outlined one. That's still very, very attractive. Heavy structured. It's got good feet, good toe quality. Practicality and just function of that hog is so good. Proportions and look and balance match up extremely well for the show ring. And so, like I said, that's one that we're dumping in again on some of these better sows because of those gilts that we're now starting to let out and start to breed.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely some highlights. And then not only we always talk about gilts because that's kind of the main focus here, but as we look into the show ring and start seeing some of those bears, some of those boars, he's a real dual purpose boar that you can use on a big variation of sows. So from there, a new one we just got in.
I'm excited about this.
Right before Indiana. Daryl Drake had an online sale. He's done this is the second year.
We bought about a quarter of the pigs in that sale, didn't we? We bought a lot of pigs in that sale. There were some good hogs went through there.
We bought a few last year, and it worked incredibly well. So we went back again.
We hit that sale pretty hard.
Yeah. And Daryl had a red boar in that sale that was very intriguing. Talking to Daryl, talking to Wade, it was one that we thought we needed to definitely.
That was a must-have.
Yeah, we definitely needed to pay attention there. Either way, this is a board called Grand Slam. Grand Slam is let me think of this. And the reserve boar from Indiana that Daryl purchased last year at Indiana State Fair. He has a Glenrock on a megawatt sow. Mm-hmm. And that sow is a stout featured, heavy bone, just square and attractive. And that is a very, very good sow that's behind that boar. We got him purchased on an online sale, basically from a little video and a picture. And when he's got here, he's done nothing but get better. You talk about building one from the ground up. Great feet, heavy bone, stout features, square. The hog's got a big chest, a big shoulder blade. And he has old school Duroc boar characteristics in terms of just mass and muscle, but yet still an attractive, very loose skeleton. He's one that is seeing,
he's seeing a lot of sows.
He's seeing our best sows right now. The ones that we used Focus on last year, we're still plugging him, focusing on a few of them, but those better ones are seeing Grand Slam. And the really interesting part of Grand Slam is beside of, his great grandfather would be he's the one. That's the only thing that ties him into the rest of the current pedigrees. Mm. On the other, everything else is complete.
You're going to be an outcross to everything. Minus he's the one a couple generations back.
2 generations back. Yeah. So, but he's the one.
I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I mean, I think he's kind of the herd sire. He's the one that you're going to plug in, and you're going to do a lot of good in your herd, no matter what you're trying to do. If you're trying to make females, you're trying to make show pigs, you're trying to take your level to the next step, or you're going to step up here. He's going to do a lot of change. He's going to add a lot of value, to your herd as far as productivity and looking at parents both.
That's the things with anything that comes from Daryl.
Productivity
is
extremely
very, very high.
Which, something that we've always valued extremely well here ourselves. Something we preach on a lot to guys is productivity here. Once we get past the productivity with this guy, I mean, we've still got a lot of other really good traits that we're going to be plugging in there, guys.
I mean, he's one. You talk about stoutness, talk about squareness, the flexibility, still look, and it's got muscle.
Got to have muscle.
So, definitely one to look into for sure. If it's available, go ahead and grab that up quick because it won't last very long. I guarantee you that.
Now, we got a pair of boars we're going to talk about next, Jake, and a little bit related here, kind of cool deal that we ended up acquiring. Big Bear, Hang 'em High.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool deal how we ended up getting that. Tell me a little bit about these two guys.
Okay. Big Bear is one we actually raised here. He would be out of Bear Claw, which the year Attention sold it at Louisville. Of course, Attention was the $190,000 one. That'd be the Sire Focus. But there was another one that Don R. Smith brought about $35,000 to Crossroads.
Good litter of pigs in that litter.
Very good litter. Big Bear, Bear Claw brings $35,000 at Louisville. His littermate sister, the Hadley Hendrickson showed, was champion red gilt, and I think grand overall that year. She brought $35,000. And then there were 2 boars that were purchased privately before the rest of the world even saw these. And one of those was Hang 'em High. They were purchased by Stony Creek Genetics. They're Doc Hendrickson, Tom Lamke there in Indiana.
So litter mate to the Bear Claw.
He'd be a litter mate. Yes, he is a litter mate to that Bear Claw boar. So he's one that we acquired there just after Belton this year.
Mature boar.
Yeah, as a mature boar, 3 years old. You talk about a stout featured one that's moderate and heavy boned and big chested, huge rib cage, shoulder blade, but still has an attractive look. I'd say take him from what I've gathered, from the litters we've had thus far, and from talking to Don R. Take him to a bigger outline sow that's very, very attractive and very loose skeleton. Because he will bring the heat. They'll be heavy boned. He'll make them heavy boned. He'll make them stout. And he'll make them square. So that's one for sure. If you got red sows that are very attractive, bigger outline and very loose, he's one. If you need a little extra punch, he's one for sure. We can get him stuck in, and I think we'll like the way those things look.
Yeah, for a 3-year-old boar, though, this guy, when we show him around to people, guys like him. You think 3-year-old boars, sometimes they're kind of hard to look at. This guy, he's attractive. He's heavy boned. He gets around the pen. For being that old and weighing that many pounds, this guy gets up and goes still.
Mm-hmm. He's very, very unique.
Yep.
Big Bear, which I started in on and then changed gears on you. Big Bear is one we raised here. Like I said before, he is a Bear Claw. Visha, one of our best Red Bulls, is Grandma. Actually, we just bred Grandma back to Big Bear for the summer, and actually just did it again the other day, or this past weekend. Big Bear fits the same kind of pattern and build as Bear Claw did in terms of just elevation and extension. Incredible, like flawless in his skeleton. The angle to his shoulder blade. We talk about getting these hogs tall fronted. The fastest way to make them tall fronted is to make them straight fronted. So for him to be this tall fronted, but yet still have the right angle to his shoulder blade and slope to his front leg, looseness of spine, but yet keep not being, his top line doesn't sag. It stays in line. Hip and rear leg is perfect. Reach and range of motion is awesome. Squareness of hock, great feet. Take him, I would tell you, and how we're using him is taking him on some of those Duroc sows that are stouter, that do have just a little extra muscle, have just a little extra rib cage, a little extra chest, because pattern design, flexibility, and range of motion with Big Bear is second to none. So, I mean, that's kind of the round out the red ones.
Got one question here on the live feed. Jared is asking, what Duroc boar do we have that will add the most mass and width? If you're looking
Big
at
Bear.
mass and width, back to Big Bear.
No, sorry, hang them high. Sorry.
Okay, so hang 'em high. Saying very similar pedigree.
Yeah, hang them high. No, mass and width, and that's like I said. He's the one. If you have a good pattern one that needs just more stuff, just more product, more mass, use hang them high.
Yep. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, those ones, the oldest ones are now, we've got moved out of the nursery into the finisher. They're stout.
Yep.
So
guys, Duroc boars, lots of options here. We got proven ones, we got new ones. Everyone always wants to use the new boars, but guys, don't forget about Focus here. He's won a lot of hog shows. Hampshire Wise, another boar that's been really, really popular from a year ago. That's won a lot of hog shows. This boar called Program.
Yep, the Program. He's one that when we saw, and Randy and I saw him at the World Pork Expo, we never stand together to watch a pig show. Basically, because we want to know what the other ones, if we land on the same one, it's usually okay. We're in there.
Yep.
So I stand on one end. Usually he stands on the other end. Well, this pig, when the Program came out of the ring, I followed, and when I got to his spin at the same exact time, Randy got to his spin. So it was one that we just left the show and walked straight after that one.
Had to see him.
Yeah, we had to see him on the concrete and up close, and it's been, it was a no-brainer when we saw him, and it's still to this day a no-brainer. He has been incredibly good, both Hampshires and crosses.
Yeah. He had a big win.
He did
at the expo on not a pure Hampshire litter.
They have at the World Pork Expo. They have the Hampshire side crossbred barrow division. The reserve champion Hampshire side cross barrow.
So crossbred pig sired by a pure Hampshire is what that is.
Yep. We had crossbreds in that particular case. It was cross sow, a belted cross sow, bred to the Program. It was reserved grand. That barrow went on to be grand overall here in Ohio, like 6 shows, reserved like 4 shows, and these jackpots. And we're talking 300 to 500 in terms of size of those jackpot shows. So those aren't small potatoes either. But then turns around Windsor County Fair as well. It's one Xander Ivy there in Washington Courthouse.
Yeah, pretty big county fair down there too.
Yeah, it's very good and it's very big.
Very competitive.
Won that. So then from there, that was a great start. From there, another barrow we raised and sold at that March Madness sale. Sold to Maya McCoy. She was reserve champion Hampshire Barrow at the Iowa State Fair. Frank Lucas had the champion Hampshire Boar at the Iowa State Fair. We took a Program boar to the Indiana State Fair. Was reserved junior boar Kyle Beatty at Beatty Genetics in Nebraska. Purchased him for $8,000, and he was a second high seller and one of the more unique ones, most talked about ones in the show. How to use Program? Start with just bring your best ones, plain and simple. He's a bigger outlined hog, but yet still doesn't sacrifice substance and muscle. Heavy bone, great feet. Clean joints. Hip and rear leg is as good as you make one. Rib cage, shoulder blade is extremely good. Protection. I know there's a lot of people that want to talk about, because his ears are looser. But at the same time, his loose ears, his loose hide also equals his loose skeleton.
Mm-hmm. Very flexible boar.
Yeah. So when we people will always, I don't want to use that one because his ears are too loose or he's got a little wrinkle. Well, those are also the same people that talk to you about, we can't get our hogs to grow, our hamsters to grow, or we can't get our hamsters to do this or that. Well, you use a big outlined hog that's got some, loose skeleton, that's got some, just some grow factor to him. It'll change things in a hurry. Not only in the show ring perspective, but, when we
in the farrowing house too.
Yeah. When we put him in those hogs in the finisher, they're in pens with Durocs or Hampshires, Yorkshires, whatever. mean, those program hogs grow. I mean, they're as big or bigger than anything else when we move them out.
Yeah, guys that raise Durocs and Hampshires and Yorkshires all together, and you go try to put them in the same finisher pen, what usually happens?
The Hampshires
get fall behind. Not in this case.
Not
these programs are keeping up, and that's hard to do for a Hampshire to keep up with a Duroc or a Berkshire or Yorkshire. Guys that raise multiple breeds of hogs. If you only raise Hampshires, you might not see the difference. But when you raise multiple breeds and you try to grow them all together at one, that's something you're going to really appreciate is the growth factor in these programs. Yeah. And another thing we've been using program pretty heavy for is that we built quite an F1 herd.
Yeah,
with program back on the Yorkshire sows, which is something I think is going to be extremely popular for the guys looking to make show bearers. Basically a sow that you can plug in these high, heavy muscle crossbred boars back into a functional crossbred sow that's going to lay down and have pigs and be able to generate some of those next level bearers.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Like I said, program. I mean, if you want to get really, really critical, protect them in the ear set, and but other than that,
that's nickel and dime stuff.
It's ear set doesn't bother me. I mean, like I said, if those hamsters have a little looser ear, I guarantee they're going to grow. I guarantee they're going to be loose skeleton. I mean, and some of those best hamster sows, period, are those looser eared sows.
Yeah.
But definitely, you can look at program. I mean, we don't need to tell you a whole lot about him. He's kind of
the results kind of speak for themselves.
Yeah, and right now, I'll tell you, if you want to use program, you better
book him in because he's been booked out. He's sold out, but last 4 or 5 collection days. Yeah. So we haven't even been able to use them here.
Yeah, we haven't.
Probably in a month or so, we haven't bred them here just because you guys have bought it all, which is good. We like doing that. We always prioritize the semen customers over the sows. I handle a lot of the boar stud orders. Jake handles a lot of the breeding. Sometimes, it's hard for us to coincide on things. He wants to breed certain sows with the boars, and they were sold out that day, and it makes it a little challenging for both of us to come together on things. But guys, boars like the program, boars like focus. If you want to use these guys, you better get your orders in because they're filling up.
For Juice It too.
Juice It's another boar that going on the third fall, right? Third fall, and still selling out and being extremely popular. Guys, get your orders on these popular boars because if you don't, you're not going to be able to use them.
Yep. And then the next Hampshire boar we'll talk about is kind of this what Rick talked about there is when we get to want to use the same boar using program, he sold out. So then what do we do? Well, so then we went on that same trip to Drake's on that online sale, came across this 5-litter boar we call New School. Very similar in terms of focus or in terms of program, in terms of just elevation. And he's a bigger outlined hog that still has, great feet, great toe quality, huge feet, heavy bones, clean joints, and loose skeleton. He, in comparison, he's probably not as heavy muscled as program, but that's okay. But at the same time, he is tighter eared. He is more attractive through his face and head, just, for those who don't like the loose ear on the program. But either way, he's one as we've got here and got him settled in. Just continues to get better. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's dealt with Darryl Drake, that those hogs, they're not babied. They're not pampered. They're
real world hogs.
All these hogs came out of a Cargill.
Yeah. These hogs got to live in the elements and outside. Jake Melissa's asking here online, I have a large framed, heavy muscled Hamp cross sow. Would program be a good choice for her? Large frame, heavy muscled cross sow.
Large frame and heavy muscle.
Mm-hmm.
That is one that, like I said, program has done such a good job across all different types of sows. I'm never going to tell anyone not to use him.
Exactly.
Anytime you can get another shot of pure, in your crossbred program, it's never a bad idea.
Mm.
It's just a matter of one that, just what does your sow look like in terms of shape and length of face, and is she a loose eared one already, or is she pretty tight eared? I'm never going to say no to using program. I'm never going to tell anybody not to.
I love taking these purebred boars and putting them back on the cross sows. I think too many people get the idea that we can only make show pigs with crossbred boars, and how many times can we breed a cross to a cross to a cross to a cross before we start seeing the ill consequences of, losing growth, losing consistencies, just multiple traits that we're, not going in the right direction on. There's just so many times you can breed one cross, be like, look, guys, we got to go back with a couple pures here just to get some fresh air.
Yep, some fresh air, get your heterosis back up, your consistency of your litter back up. Because, I mean, yeah, you can breed your crossbred on top of your crossbred on top of your crossbreds, but at the same time, when you do that, I mean, your gene pool gets so big that you're going to get,
many variables.
Yeah, you're going to get one that's going to be very, very good.
You're going to get 9 to 7.
And you're going to get 9 that we're going to take them probably to the closest sale barn.
Yep.
But
so Melissa, good idea. Definitely using the Hampshires to make your sure pig with, and back on the crossbred sows. I like the way you're thinking on that, Melissa, and that's something that we do here actually quite a bit.
Yep, for sure. Like I said, we covered on New School.
You want to talk about Flat Tire a little bit? More that we bought there at
Flat Tire came from Belton this spring. I got the chance to stand in the ring and do those hamsters, judge those hamsters with Mike McCoy, and it was as we came in the ring, those boars come in, we get to the 3rd, 4th, 5th class of the day, and like we said, before these hogs we'll always talk about the ones that came from Daryl Drake. Well, this hog was different from Daryl's. Daryl's were always very good skeleton, very correct, and very no holes, very just functional hogs. Well, Flat Tire comes in the ring, and he got the name simply because on his way from the wash rack to the ring, slipped, pulled a muscle, did whatever, was up on about 3.5 legs, just kind of half limping in the show ring. But at the same time, for one that has that kind of look and extension to his front end, to be that big chested, that big in his forearm and shoulder blade, rib cage, and to be that heavy boned was very, very intriguing to me. Looked like there was definitely some very, very good qualities to that boar. He automatically went on my list of ones we needed to look up for sure, or at least ask about.
I liked him enough we brought him home.
Yeah, liked him enough that that was the one that I thought had the most value for us here and what we want to do. We're having our first litters of them now in the crate. They look very good. We've had pure litter. We've had an F1 litter on the Yorkshire sow. So far, it looks very good. Flat Tire came home, completely healed up now, and hasn't changed. Still very impressive. Yep. He's a little more moderate. So if you do have a big, like she asked about
bigger frame
one, if you need to downsize a little bit, look at
be a second option. Especially if program is booked out that day, you need it.
Yep. Still keeps some width and mass and muscle in them. And a good look, just quite not as big of a package. So those are kind of the 3, Hampshire boars we hit on.
Yep, got lots of guys asking questions here about some of these crossbred boars. Yep. Hang tight here a few minutes. We're going to discuss Yorkshires next. We got a spot boar that we're going to talk about here in a few, and then we're on to the crosses guys. So those guys that are kind of hanging on, I've seen some crossbred questions kind of pop through the feed here. We will be touching on those here shortly, but next up we're going to talk about some Yorkshires here.
Yorkshire boars.
Yep.
3 of them we'll talk about. First one we're going to talk about, ladies man.
Champion boar.
Champion boar from Summertide Conference, came from Tracy Lorenzen. We had just the week before, or earlier in that week of Louisville, Randy and I made a trip to George Watson's. After that trip, we'll touch on that in a minute, but after that trip, I think on the way home, Randy said, I don't know if I'll even watch the Yorkshires. But long story short, we watched the Yorkshires, and there was one that hit the ring and was different than we've seen in a very long time, and that was Ladies Man. Ended up being champion there. You talk about one that is so attractive in terms of just look and extension through his front end. He's a bigger outlined hog that it's just flawless in his pattern.
Kind of fits that current trend really well. Hits it hard on what people are looking for in the show ring. I mean, this is a guy that you can go win Yorkshire shows with.
For sure. He's a stockbroker, Bone Buzz. One that's, I've never seen Tracy. Usually when Tracy Lorenzen brings one, it's going to be as stout and as powerful as anything you've ever seen, at that show especially. This one, he kind of changed gears on us. This was as loose skeleton and as anything that he's ever driven. And he had a different gear in terms of everything else in that show. He was going, I mean, he was lapping them, everything else in the ring, both in class and in the Grand Drive. For that's that attractive. That loose skeleton, yet still keeping that much structure, that square build, but at the same time, his lines are perfect. I mean, he gets his head cranked, but his top line is perfectly dead level from his top of his shoulder blade to his tail, perfectly dead level.
And it gives a real attractive look when those kids are driving the pigs around the show ring. You know, if you can get that head up, that nice level top, I mean, those judges are going to see those pigs in a heartbeat. You know, they're going to pick them.
Range of motion's incredibly good. I mean, squareness to build. And he's seen a large percentage of Yorkshire South here. One definitely need to look into. We got a video on the website.
Damn good video.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I mean, that's look at the video. You can figure it out yourself where you can fit him, where you can use him.
Yeah.
From there,
back to what you were talking about. You made a trip down to George Watson's,
which
George we always get along really well with. We kind of share a lot of the same mindset with George on, you know, what we're looking for when we make Yorkshire hogs. So we've always got along well with George, getting things from him. You know, we've had a lot of really popular boars. You guys remember a boar called the Grizz. Tell me a little bit about Cover Boy, and what do you think about him compared to the Grizz?
Yeah, and that's the thing is when we got to George's, you know, and got into the boar barn, and if you've never been to George's,
you need to make a trip.
It's interesting, and it's definitely worth the trip. But I mean, it's not one boar in one pen. It's 20 boars in this pen, and 20 more in this pen, and all the way down this feeding floor. Well, as George starts kind of stirring these, this one kind of comes around to the front. It was one of those eyes got big, but I try to be kind of discreet about it.
We knew he was good.
And so, long story short, I mean, the first instance was
love at first sight.
Yes, that is. I mean, as close to Grizz, I think, that we've seen in a long time. One you talk about that's just incredibly heavy boned, incredibly big footed. One that's just big bladed, big rib, big forearm, stout skull, but yet loose skeleton. You know, he's one that, I mean, we've ran Pathfinder through pretty hard over the last year and a half. And we have a bunch of daughters that are bigger outline, very attractive, good skeleton, and have some structure. So I thought with Cover Boy, we can just add just so much more just internal dimension and mass and body, add a bigger shoulder blade. I mean, he's one that people, when they come and see him, I mean, they flash back to the Grizzes, the Moonshines, the Beefcakes.
All the old Watson pedigrees.
He is very, very similar to me, and that's why I tell people who haven't seen him, foot size, bone work, body shape, just shoulder blade, skull, all kind of match kind of the older Watson boars. This guy's shape of his body, shape of his muscle, probably fit a little more in terms of the types and kinds now. But at the same time, he and Ladies Man are ones that we're going to use here because they complement each other extremely well. I mean, what Ladies Man needs, Cover Boy does. What Cover Boy does, Ladies Man, we think the gilts are going to need.
And what's going to be cool is once we actually get to breeding this generation back, then we can breed back and forth to each other's daughters, and I think really hit on something big time with that.
And that's exactly that. And at the same time, we got another one we got from George on the same trip. He was a young boar. He was like the last day or last couple of days of February, call him Passing Lane. We should get
So he's just 6 months old now.
Yeah, whenever the after effects of the tropical storm get through, we're able to actually take.
Yeah, we're expecting about a dozen inches of rain this weekend.
Yeah, whenever we can actually get him out, get him pictured, get him on dummy, we'll get him up on Facebook and on website. But that is another one. Both Cover Boy and Passing Lane are out of Pretty Boy. Passing Lane is a Pretty Boy Voyage Spud, where Cover Boy is a Pretty Boy Attraction firewall spud. Cover Boy has like 12 shots of the old spud bore in him. Anybody that's been around the Yorkshire breed very long
has heard of spud,
knows the value in that. So those are the 3 Yorkshire boars we're the highest on, and we're using the most here.
Yep.
Kind of same deal. If you see availability on that when you call an older seaman,
jump on it.
Don't be afraid to grab a hold of those.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'm going to use it in all the sows here.
That's right. Beth Ann's asking, where would you protect Cover Boy, if at all?
Cover Boy, I would tell you to take him to a longer faced, more attractive eared one, because he gets a little bigger eared. But in terms of just mass and stoutness and a feature, but still loose skeleton, take him to a prettier sow. I'd say take him to a good pattern, bigger outline, very attractive, kind of a very feminine looking Yorkshire sow. And I think he'll add structure,
give you a lot of improvement on that.
Add mass, body. I mean, and still bring some muscle to the table. So, use Cover Boy with confidence for sure.
He's not one I'd be afraid to use at all. And then Julie's asking, she's got a not even close daughter. What do you think about ladies' man on a not even close daughter?
Actually, we bred 2 of those this morning.
Okay, good deal. So Julie's right on the right track.
Yeah, she's on track.
She's thinking smart here.
Ladies' man is perfectly matched for those not even close daughters.
Good deal. Good deal. So hits on Yorks. We're going to go real quick. Kind of a brand new addition here to the farm for us. First ever spot boar.
Yeah.
We've kind of been thinking about spots for the last couple of years. Finally pulled a trigger on one. If we was going to jump into the spot deal, we didn't want to just get an average one.
Yeah.
We thought if we're going to get one, we're going to get one that's pretty good. So.
Yeah. And we got one from a very good source. I mean, we came from Far Stock Farms. They need no introduction into the spot breed. They've been in it for, I think Taylor told me the other day, their family's been raising spots for like 50 or 60 years. So they've been in it for a while. He was one that Taylor showed at Indiana. One that he was reserved junior spot boar. Very, very interesting and a very ground level spot boar for what, what we want to do here in terms of this hog's got big feet. He's got good bones, got clean joints. He's square build. Just comfort and pattern of that hog is very, very good. He's one it's in the spot breed. There's either ones that are pretty dark colored, predominantly black. This he's pretty loud. I mean, he's got quite a bit of color to him. In that pedigree, I mean, there's been, I know, that same pedigree, there's been a bunch of hogs win in that spot ring. Not only here in the Midwest, but in the Southwest as well. Definitely look him up as one if you got spot sows and you're as you're getting to breed those. Put him on your short list. Just in terms of this look, pattern, squareness, and flexibility, hog's very good.
One thing I didn't get to make the spot show, but just from listening to you and Randy when you gave me the kind of reviews on it, one thing you noticed is toes. And that's something that we're real critical on, and a lot of people aren't, but that's something you need to be critical on is toes. And what I got from just listening to you guys is a lot of the hogs that went through that sale ring, through the show ring, the toes weren't very good.
Yeah, spots as a whole, it's kind of more of a muscle breed. I mean, if you just step back and look at spots as a whole, muscle up high is very big, and very stout, and as they get closer to the ground, they get a little just smaller. I mean, when it turns
kind of narrow, almost like a V.
Yeah, I mean they might be square built to the ground, but the size and shape of their toes, the size and shape of their feet, get a little smaller and get a little tighter. So I mean, same kind of deal is we always start to ground when we're evaluating livestock. Big feet that spread well, and the toes that spread well, loose. I mean, good cushion to their feet,
flexibility.
Yeah, just loose joints and build them up, just like anything else. You got to build them from the ground up. So I mean, that's when we saw him. It was like he's different for a spot.
Yeah, time to go on that. Let's fix some of these feet on the spot boards and see if we can make some improvements on that breed.
Yep.
So a lot of you guys, the kind of the popular breed here you've been waiting around on. We're going to talk about some crossbred boars. I know a lot of people like the crossbred boars. They love the crossbred boars. That's you go to the county fairs, especially in Ohio. You're from Indiana. It might be a little different from where you're from, I'm sure. In Ohio, crossbred boar shows, about all you're going to find.
Yep, that's basically all you get. 95% of the shows here are just straight market
shows. They don't line them up by breeds.
Yeah.
Where you're from, you're going to see a Duroc show and a Yorkshire show and everything else at the county fairs. But crossbred boars are kind of popular, so we're going to spend some time on these now.
Yeah, we had to, we feel really good about what we've acquired over the last couple of years in terms of the spots, last few years. First one we're going to talk about is Big Sexy. We're going into year 2 there. Had a great run this summer.
Had a good summer, yeah.
Champion Division 1 cross field at the World Park Expo. Cotton West showed from Texas. He won Division 1 in the junior show. Turned around, won the first class, I think, in the open show, and then sold her for $9,000.
That's pretty good.
That would be one of the oldest litters of Big Sexies. But then it didn't stop there. I mean, there's been multiple. I know Ernie Birchmeyer got along great in Michigan. He won 2 of them at a county fair, Grand Am Reserve. Another reserve champion crossbred board at Ohio State Fair was a Big Sexy. Hogs are very unique in their look, length and extension through their front end, elevation point of the shoulder, and then squareness of build, and then they got muscle to burn. I mean, there's a ton of muscle to burn.
Easy feeding hogs too.
Yeah, there's not ones that you're going to have to change a bunch. Just they're ones you can just feed them, keep it pretty practical, pretty basic, and get along when it gets towards the end. Protection in terms of where to protect him. I would tell you, and kind of how we've done it here, is those softer made sows. Ones that have just a bigger rib cage and more pliable in terms of the center portion of their body.
More body shape or more body mass.
Yeah. And what we've used, and the Rick's gilt that the girls showed there this summer.
Yeah, my daughter
was
showed
on an F1 Hamp York sow. That was very, very good skeleton. Just good about the shape of her body, soft body, long hipped, a good rear leg.
Pretty common in her muscle though. The sow was.
Yeah, average muscle, but good skeleton.
Yeah, he put the muscle on. Girls took a gilt that I thought was plenty good enough to win the show, and they got along really well. Big Sexy, on the right sows, even on the wrong sows. Even if you like Big Sexy and you maybe didn't make the best sow choice on them, you're still gonna get a damn good litter.
Yeah, the look and shape and just pattern of those hogs are eye catching. You're standing in the ring and one of those comes in, you're gonna take a second look. Yeah. Just instant, just look, because just attractiveness, and they'll draw you to you pretty fast. Of the new boars,
one that's been getting a lot of talk here, kind of the all-white crossbred boar, which is a little bit different than what you're used to seeing when you think about crossbred boars. At first glance, you might think Yorkshire when you see this guys, but guys,
and in 6 months or 4 months, he will be considered a Yorkshire in the Southwest. In a classification only, but Tough Mudder. Tough Mudder was second in class at Summer Type. Came from James Backman in California, Small Town Genetics. He has a 225K Erupt. Mr. Wolf is his pedigree. Randy and I set up there. There were 3 or 4 other guys, that either have boar studs or very, very prominent breeders throughout the country. And that was the one that, as a whole, we all kind of had a group discussion about. Love this guy's just pattern and build. For one that has this kind of design and loose skeleton and flexibility, he's still big when he gets low at the ground. Big-footed, very big forearmed. He's got bone work. He's square in his build. Great muscle shape. He is the only white pig in all black litter. Mm-hmm. So if you breed that white boar to either a dark blue sow or a belted sow, you're going to
get color.
If you bring him to Yorkshire, you're going to have white ones.
Yep.
Or predominantly white ones. But he's one that we're going to use, and people who have been here, that's the one that they're booking up when they go to leave. Just a combination in terms of structure and substance, and at the same time, awesome pattern, reach and range of motion off both ends of the skeleton's extremely good. Hogs got muscle. We think that's an elite crossbred sire.
Another one we got darn good video on, guys, on that Boar video page again. There's a video Tough Mudder up that, makes us pretty proud to post.
Yep, for sure. He's one that we're pretty high on. One of the other ones we're real high on is one we call Hangover. Hangover was a class winner at the World Pork Expo. And he won class 4. He's an out of breath, blurred vision. Came from No Limit Genetics in California. He was basically our pick. After the show was over, Randy and I and a couple others kind of started going through and letting everything out. Just kind of looking through. Once we put a star next to or a check mark or whatever during the show, we always like to get them back on the concrete and really evaluate them on concrete, because that's how they're going to spend most of their days here.
You can really see their feet and their toes and stuff that's important to us, that you can't see in the show ring. When you're watching a show, it's kind of hard to evaluate their toes and end up from there a little bit.
Mm-hmm. One we thought was as square built as anything in the show that we saw that day in the crossbred drive. One that's heavy about his bone work. He's big about his forearm and shoulder blade rib cage. Be pliable about his rib cage and soft about his body, but still attractive to his front end. Square looseness of skeleton's extremely good. And he's one I think we can use as dual purpose sire. If you have those, F1 York crosses or whatnot, I think if you can breed the Hangover and both get show barrows at the same time. Looks like gilts that look like they'll feed and not only be great show gilts, but ones you can breed and use back into your sow herds at the same time.
Which is important here. It's fun to make show barrows, but we're going to have to make some sows to make next year's show barrows too.
Like I said, he looks like one that's very, very versatile. That can go both sides of the spectrum there, and just make good livestock and good hogs. One that's going to see plenty of sales. He's popularities, and the more people see him, he's one that's that people are getting marked down and getting booked up pretty quick.
Yep. Guys, just so you know, my daughters, of course, they show pigs here at our county fair local, just the same. And Hangover, Tough Mudder, 2 ones we just talked about are ones that we're going to be breeding in. The girls got their own sow herd. We talk about what boars they're going to use, and Tough Mudder, Hangover boars we just talked about, guys, are ones we're going to use here for my own daughters for the pigs they're going to be showing next year.
Yep. I guess from there we'll go a little outlier for me from the Louisville show.
Kind of a sneaky pick.
Yeah, he kind of snuck through the cracks a little bit, but excuse me. There was one we call Powerlift. Powerlift was one that we didn't really understand how he fell as far in class as he did, but either way, we'll take it. That wasn't our responsibility, so we just made sure to sit in and buy him come sale day. Powerlift is an affirmed on a distinct sow, raised by Cody Smith in Indiana. That one's mother, I think, is one that was shown in Texas. Got along great, jackpotting. One that's he's building a lot of things around that crossbred sow. He was Powerlift was very unique in the terms of this guy's structure and bone work is incredibly big. Heavy bones. He was as heavy boned as anything that drove through the ring. Any breed, any show, all day long. At the same time, he's a little bigger outline dog. Very tall shouldered, very extended about his head and neck, how his head and neck tie into the top of his shoulder blade. If you look at his picture, and I think in his video, you can watch him when he gets his head up in his top line. Like we talked with Ladies Man, it's dead level. Still has a big forearm, square chest, and always got muscle. He's one. I think if you got some blue sows that are a little more moderate, a little chubbier middle, got some more body. He's one for sure. We can definitely dump in. Actually, Rick and I were talking about an F1 daughter that's running out here. That's
be a good mating.
Probably going to be how he's going to breed that sow.
Yep.
Just in terms of looks, squareness, shape, and heaviness of structure, that hog will. If the pigs come out and look like that, they'll definitely get you a second look. when you hit the show ring.
Yep. Got a couple questions here on the live feed. A boar that we need to talk about a little bit here. Is a boar named Lawless, really unique boar. Dan's asking about Lawless here. He's a first timer. He's wanting to buy a bred gilt bred to Lawless.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
It would be a very good idea. Lawless came from World Pork Expo. He and Hangover was our two crossbred purchases there. Lawless is he's a little more moderate in terms of frame size, but he is incredibly stout. Huge feet, heavy bones, big chested, big shoulder blade and forearm. Still has a very neat look to his front end. He's got a stout skull, clean jawline, how his head and neck tie into the top of his blade. Range of motions are very, very good. We got a video on him on the face
when he was younger.
When he was younger, basically at 200 pounds, he still looks exactly the
same. I see Lawless as being a boar that probably offer the most change.
Yes.
And in a single generation.
Yes, he is the one. When we got him, my argument with that boar is as we transition, like we talked before, from the moderate stout ones to the big pretty ones, a lot of people are just going 180. I mean, just as hard as they can to make them big and pretty. At the same time, you still got to keep featuring them. You got to keep bone work. You got to keep mass in those hogs. So if you have a big outline, good design, like belted crossbred sow or hamster sow, you need to downsize and stouten. Lawless is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, feet, bone, chest, rib shape, shoulder blade and forearm, top shape. That hog will give you some change quick.
He's a pretty cool hog. Guys, that's what we got planned for today. The hogs that we're talking about, we wanted to hit the highlights here. Of course, we don't have time. We're about an hour deep so far almost. We fit some pretty good boars here on the highlights. We got plenty that we haven't talked about. Feel free to pick up the phone, give us a call direct. Anything you want to talk about more specifically, send me a question, a DM. We're going to do everything we can to get back to you here. Coming up January 1st. I mean, this is a very busy time.
I think we're December 30 right now.
December 30, yep. So 2 days away is January 1st. We're coming up, guys. It's go time. Be figuring out your plans, what boars you're wanting to use. Get your orders in, get figured out what's going on. Books are filling up quick over here. Things are busy on your end at the breeding floors. Things are busy at my end at the boar stud. We're just trying to do what we can to help you out. But once again, thank you for tuning in. We kept you a little bit long today, but we had a lot of good information we wanted to share with you here. I want to be able to pick Jake's brain a little bit on these boars. I feel like he's broken them down real good, explained to you really well here what we're looking at, what we're trying to tell you guys and teach you here. So hope you enjoyed the feed today. Sorry to keep you a little bit longer, but once again, we wanted to share with you opinions here on these boars. Don't forget, we are still doing the bred gilt giveaway. Anytime you order semen, you're going to be entered in that deal here. Every $250 you spend is a free entry. 500 gets you 3, 1,000 gets you 10. So we do appreciate you guys on the love on that. We've got lots and lots of entries. Guys, keep them coming. Any questions, any comments, pick up the phone, send us a message. We're pretty easy to get a hold of, guys. Once again, thank you from the Shipley Swine Group. Rick Snyder, Jake Holt signing off. Thank you, guys.